Hello everyone, my name is Santiago Sierra Soler. I'm super excited today as we were going to be talking to two of my dear friends and two of my favorite people in New York. Joey TASCA and NATALIA YOVANE. It's going to be a casual conversation about what is ceremony, ritual, and an introduction to plant medicine. These guys are amazing. They're a couple, and the best way to describe them is that they are healers. You're gonna meet them in a second. But first I want to introduce myself. As I said, my name is Santiago Sierra Soler. I am born and raised in Mexico. I'm a photographer director. I work in fashion. My friend Vito Basso and I created this platform as we are passionate about learning and igniting interesting conversations. We believe that we're living to like what it is probably the most interesting time in human history. It's either we evolve or we auto-destroy ourselves. So I know it sounds pretty serious, but the reality is that it's time for humanity to wake up, and by that we mean by just embodying humility and really start learning. The name of today's talk is The Journey Inward, an introduction to ceremony, ritual, and plant medicine. I'm gonna link up Joey and NATALIA in a second. Let me just introduce them really quickly. Joey is a certified Ayurveda and Kambo practitioner. His deep fascination with traditional and indigenous medical systems led him to explore, practice, and later facilitate Ayurveda counseling, Ayurvedic therapy, and transformative Kambo healing sessions. NATALIA is a Chilean medicine woman and artist. She has lived and traveled around the world. These guys are always traveling. It's crazy. They're always in these really amazing places. I mean, I think their last big trip was in Japan. It'll be interesting to hear what they think about being in quarantine. Well, NATALIA, she's incredibly intuitive. Things come to her in dreams. She's a yoga teacher. She works and knows about herbal medicine, nutrition, and mindfulness. I'm gonna link up Nat and Joey.
Hey, cool. Hey guys.
What's up?
What up?
Cats and kids.
Oh my God. Sorry about that intro. So, I said before, this is my first time hosting a talk, and I want it to be casual and fun, and you guys are, I'm just super excited to be talking to you guys. Joey, how long has it been since we met each other?
Since we met last?
4 5.
Or how
No,
long?
since we met through my brother, through Mauricio, actually.
I don't know, maybe
It's been 4 years or something.
years? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a nice 4
And then,
years.
yeah. And I remember you were you were in a way probably most important people that guided me before I did ayahuasca. That was really incredible. It was a really life-changing experience, and it was beautiful. And then after I met Nat, how are you?
I'm well. Vibing.
That's good.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. It's I'm a little nervous, but it's all good, I guess. let's just pretend it's a Skype call or something.
No one's listening.
Yeah, right? Like you
Hello
said.
to all of our dear friends. I see you. Cool.
Yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in. Joey and Nat, I would love for you guys to introduce yourselves and for you to tell us a little bit about who you are and what your journey has been. I'm curious about your childhood and how did you get into this line of work?
My name is Joey. I grew up in New Jersey. My parents were born in Sicily. So I grew up pretty Italian. Going to Sicily every other summer. I had a pretty awesome childhood. And I'm also, I study Ayurveda. So I'm an Ayurvedic nutritionist. I focus mainly on food as medicine, and combo practitioner as of lately, and I cut hair.
That's how we
Love
met,
that.
actually. That's cool. And what about you, Nat?
So my name is Natalia, and I was born in Santiago, Chile. And I started traveling and moving around the world since about 7. Um, and I'm an artist, but I'm also a medicine woman, and I carry a lot of different earth medicines, I would call them. I study a lot of herbal medicine and plants. I love to garden. Also work in spaces in the city, bringing plant life into people's homes.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah,
How
we.
long have you guys been together?
Oh, okay. I'll answer
Like
that because
that.
usually men don't really hold down those dates very well. But I think it's been like 5 years.
Cool.
Yeah.
How'd you guys meet?
Through a friend.
Well, actually, Joey was searching for a ceremony space, and a mutual friend of ours connected us because she was saying that, you know, we were very similar, we speak the same language, we know a lot of the same things, and that he was searching for a community to sit with, and so that we should
Yeah.
meet. And so there's that beautiful cosmic weaving of how we actually met, had this underlining trail of this kind of journeys with plant medicines.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, I guess, I mean, one of the things that we've been talking, planning this little, well, this little chat that we've been wanting to have is this moment that we're living right now in quarantine, right? I mean, you guys are always traveling. You guys are always like in these really incredible places, and it's I think the last big trip you guys did was Japan, or where were you?
Yeah, Japan.
Yeah, you went to some insane places. I remember just looking at your stories and your Instagram, and you always um, have this fascination for, I guess, ancient knowledge, and it just kind of like not just the typical things that we all learn in school, right? You
Yeah.
Yeah.
guys, have you guys always been like into this
Japan's
stuff,
awesome.
or?
Yeah, I've been into it. I've been like a seeker since I was young. I would always ask questions. I was always be curious. I think it's important to be curious about like everything and ask questions and dive deep in whatever you enjoy.
And for me, it's just like traveling as a little girl and being exposed to different cultures around the world. I was just so curious as to why they would celebrate certain things, or why these certain festivities were taking place in these scenarios, or places around the world. And I think I always was very interested in something else, something bigger than myself, because I always felt so much and so much more, and
Yeah.
was like seeking like what is that, and
How is
so
it to be in quarantine right now? After, I mean, have you guys been? I've just been talking to a bunch of friends, and I'm actually having. It's been quite fun. I think it's a great moment to be creative. I've been incredibly productive and doing lots of yoga and meditation. I mean, it's but a lot of people are. I feel like obviously it's been a hard time for everybody. What's your
I mean,
take?
I think it's awesome to not go into the city for 3 months.
Yeah.
um, yeah, we've been staying super busy, like cooking and meditation, yoga. I meditate a lot, but I've been meditating more since this, just because I
Yeah.
have time now, more time. So I
Yeah.
usually do it like twice a day now instead of like just once a day. Um, I think it's been chill.
it's groovy. You know, I think there's waves of emotions that come in and out with,
Yeah.
and I think the waves are very like pivoted with like media in general. I think they set a tone that's not necessarily positive, so that could definitely shift people's energies, and sometimes even us, you know. So it's a frequency challenge, and for us it's very important to maintain just positive thoughts and you know, discern between what's real and what's not real.
Yeah.
I think meditation and yoga can help with those types of discernments.
Yeah, and in a way, that's why we thought like this topic of ceremony, ritual, it's important. I think, I don't know what you guys think, but I guess in a way in our culture, I mean, we tend to think of ceremony as, you know, like graduations or weddings or this type of different important happenings or events. And in reality is that, I mean, obviously ceremony has been a part of human history since the beginning of recorded history. Before that, do you think we've sort of lost this, like the idea of ceremony and ritual? I mean, because it's
Well,
so, people think about religion or, I mean,
yeah, you know,
ceremony started
I
way
think
before
like
religion.
when we think about ceremony right now in this age, you know, we think about graduations and birthdays, and these things are conditionings and, you know, history of society that has embedded these celebrations in our world, you know, in our
Mm-hmm.
but you know, I think when you reach a state of mind where you're more mature, you can kind of decide how you want to celebrate and what ceremonies and rituals resonate with you, that's gonna propel you, that's gonna enrich your life, nourish your spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And through your different life journey, you can find different ways that resonate with you. I mean, traveling has been beautiful for us because we see people in India or Sri Lanka or Japan, and we can see how their cultures celebrate certain things, you know? And so you
Yeah.
can kind of start to mold a little bit of what works for you. And I think everybody has that freedom and that will to do whatever kind of ceremony they would like, you know?
Yeah, I mean, do you guys do ritual or ceremony like daily? I mean, in India, they have the fire pujas and then they do like the daily meditations. I mean,
I
do you
say,
guys, I mean, it could be like yoga, right? Or it could
I
be
mean, for me,
even
it's like
cooking.
waking, like for me, it's like waking up is wow. Like that's already a big ceremony. Here we are back in this reality, right? Dreaming's like another place in another land,
Yeah.
for me at least. But I'd say, you know, yeah, we have like our daily habits for sure. You know, Joey has a more of an Ayurveda
Yeah, I feel
routine.
like the routine is like a ceremony, you know, like to put intent into everything that you do, you know,
Yeah.
while you're making food, while you're, you know, meditating, have like, you know, a goal set in your mind.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, last time we talked, you did a little Canva session, no?
yeah, I
In the
did a
morning.
selfie.
That's tough.
I did a microdose. We've been doing it since it started. Just like a microdose is just basically like one dot, like one burn on your skin. You know, it's absorbed through the circulatory system, and it's just for that connection. You don't really have to have like a full blown like combo session where you're like
So,
sweating and throwing up. I think
yeah,
it's a good way. I think it's a good way to like connect your mind and your body and the vibration to this like this frog medicine, which is like super powerful, you know. And just one dot, you feel it. I mean, you know something's going on in your body, like you're vibrating basically. You know, you feel the heat, and then it subsides. You know, your heart's pumping a little bit. You know something's going on. It's super noticeable, and I think it's great. I think it's great to like charge your body up with all different things. It doesn't have to be a combo per
And
se.
you know, I feel like there's a perfection and divine timing to all things. You know, right now obviously we can't practice this combo ceremony with people right now, but it's a time for us to go inward with this medicine and go deeper with this medicine by treating ourselves, you know, and seeing what it's doing for us even at this like minute level of microdosing combo. You know, it's even for
so
us.
for people, sorry to
Right.
interrupt, but like for people out there, like that does not know about Cambo, I mean, can you give us a little bit of an introduction to what it is and like, Nat, you told me something really amazing the other day about like how the indigenous people in the Amazon, like they talk about how they discovered it.
Well, so the legend has it that, you know, there was a tribe in the jungle that was very sick, and a shaman curandero went and worked with plant medicine ayahuasca and was asking for any guidance on how he could help his people that were getting really sick. And so the plant medicine had guided him to work with this tree frog. And so it advised him on how to get the medicine from the frog and administer people in the tribe to start to feel better from whatever plague was happening at the time. And so that's really how it came to working with Cambo. Now, it's very interesting, you know, a lot of these stories become kind of mythological as like, well, how did the people in the jungle figure out to mix ayahuasca with chacruna to make this magic potion? And again, it comes back into another medicine that opened up these like knowledge and wisdom of how to work with what we have here on this bountiful earth, no?
So Kambo's a secretion that comes from a jungle frog in the Amazon, like Peru, Brazil. It's called the waxy green tree frog. So indigenous cultures in the Amazon were using it as like a purgative, to throw up and to boost your immune system. They were using it against like malaria or any kind of like jungle sickness that you would get. But they would also use it in hunting, like a hunting ceremony before they go hunting. They would all do it. Yeah. Which would like sharpen their senses, which would make them clean and just more connected to like their environment. And you do feel that after you have a combo session. Your body's super like open to receive, you know? So I'm sure when you're in the jungle and you're doing this, you know, and you finish the ceremony, you're way more enhanced. You have eyesight, body, you know?
You're sensitive in some ways. You have this hyper awareness of the world around you. And I feel like that's the most important lesson that all earth medicines have for us, is to become more aware of our environment, you know, more conscious and more aware.
So in that note, I mean, when you're dealing with ancient sacred medicines like these, set and setting, it's so important, right? I mean, we're obviously talking about like, okay, so Cambo is that one thing that, but the reality is like to be able to receive all these benefits, you have to have like go through specific mind-body connection of you like opening yourself to the universe and like wanting to learn, like embodying humility, setting an intention, like all these things. I mean, can you tell us in your experience or you personally, how do you approach ceremony?
I think for me, like the first thing that I really kind of go into is I really go into a deep cleanse of the body. I think cleaning the body allows me to receive more openly what is there to be received from any medicine that I'm going into. So, and now it's part of my lifestyle really for the last over a decade. I've been pretty clean eating, no? Because those affect your energy and it becomes a little bit harder. And I've noticed that the more strict I am with the dietas that some of these medicines involve, the more abundant and the ceremonies become. You know, I think that if you're starting to feel curious and open to working with these things, the more clear you are about your intention and your headspace and your body, and like really kind of are adamant with the preparations of going into these spaces, the more you'll get out of it, and the more, you know, you can receive as far as like whatever you're going in for.
Mm-hmm.
Intention is so important, and knowing who you're working with is also so important.
Yeah, I mean, I guess one of my biggest interests, it's sort of, it was born from an experience that I had a few years back, and was not even with plant medicine at all, or I mean, I personally like grew up Catholic. I like my parents were very relaxed, but never really gave a lot of thought about like religion or spirituality at all, and especially because obviously I'm gay, and like I was like, okay, like they don't they don't like the church is not, that's not what goes. So. Never really thought about it so much, but things did like came to me in dreams. But then I did, after being and dealing with depression for some time, I sort of like encountered this really incredible awakening with the power of intention. It's and then that's why in a way I've been. Well, it's just a tool that's helped me, and I guess like once like something works for you, you want to share it with people, you want to be like, okay, like this thing actually works, and like some people think it's magic, some people think it's just like or bullshit or whatever, but it's I think it really like when you bring in like your like intention into whatever that you're doing, you create your own reality. Um, and that's really incredible.
I mean, how cool is it to live in a world of magic?
I
Like
love, yeah.
I
It's
think it's just so much fun to be walking down the street and then you see this thing and it means something to you. It's a sign, it's a thing, it's like wow,
like
like how
everybody's in
fun.
their own video game, it's
Yeah,
like
it's like how exciting,
Totally.
how fun. They're leaving like cookie crumbs for you to find yourself. It's like amazing, and to go and have your aha moment, like we
totally.
we all have access to this, it doesn't belong to anybody. You are in this, to experience this, and I think how beautiful it is to have magic, how beautiful it is to have ceremony, like how amazing it is that we can pray, and however you feel prayer is to you, for the things that you love, for the things that you're grateful for. These are so important. These are the things that help us dance in this physical world, and help us be in harmony with the spiritual world.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're curious about something, it's gonna happen. I mean,
It
that's
just
what happened
appears
to
in
me.
your life.
It's just like you ask questions, you like research, and you keep it on like your frontal lobe. Like
It's like always follow the Pink Panther,
yeah,
right?
it's wild. The things that you want to do and you're curious about, they just pop up if you actually like believe in
So,
it.
tell me a little bit about you, Joey. Like, how did you? What was your
My first like
first?
ceremony.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, or yeah. I mean, because I know you're very dedicated to this. I mean, you both are. But I mean, individually, I mean, I want to learn. I want to know more about like your story and how you became like a Cambo facilitator, and then Nat, after we'll love to talk about the vision quests and all this stuff that you do as well.
So with combo, so from doing like all these like plant ceremonies and like working with them and studying them, it kind of came up. I think a friend of mine told me about it,
Mm-hmm.
and she explained how physical it was. All the other stuff that I've done were more like psychedelic or mind expanding. And I was, I'm always super interested in the body and how it works.
Mm-hmm.
So I found it fascinating that, wow, it only works on your body. Like you're not like hallucinating or anything.
Yeah.
And so I started like researching it, and then it like came up a couple of times. And like I said before, if you're interested in it, it's gonna pop up, like And all of a
Yeah.
sudden, I met someone else because you keep talking about it. It's someone's gonna know about it. Like someone's gonna answer your call. And so I knew someone else that did it. And then, you know, I asked her if she knew someone that was a practitioner. And then like I contacted them, and then from there, it just, you know, I thought it was a super powerful experience. So I just wanted to get into it, you know, like I thought it really helped me out. I thought it really connected me more with my mind, more with my body. I found it fascinating that it wasn't psychedelic, but it did give you like messages, you know, like, you know, your intuition sharper. It moves stuff around, you know, if your mind's clouded, it kind of gets rid of all that, so you could receive like new information. That's how I feel it like worked for me.
So it's interesting that you're saying that, because so psychedelic, what it means is like bringing the subconscious conscious, right? And like, since we're dealing with, like, maybe we should talk a little bit about like the four bodies, and kind of like how your mental body, your physical body, your emotional body, and your spiritual body are intertwined and connected. You know, like I guess in the Western mentality of things, like since like Descartes, like we tend to think about body and soul, or like body and mind, and this type of like, but it's really all, I mean, when you're like traveling in India, and like or learning about how other like cultures think about how we are formed, you know, like they see that almost like your body is also part of your spirit. It's almost like the material part of your spirit, but everything is like this, everything is intertwined and connected. It's very interesting that you're saying that Cambo it's only physical. I've never really done Cambo. Like I guess like ayahuasca is very
but that's the thing, it's physical, but then then after you do it, it could become spiritual. I mean, you know, you never know. I mean, like things start to happen, like you know, you might receive different answers, or you might start eating better. It does so many things, you know. Want to add to that?
Well, I think you know, whether it's your mental body, your spiritual body, your physical body, your emotional body, like these things are all connected, right? And so if there are any changes in any of these bodies, it's going to affect all your other, you know, koshas, sheaths of bodies, no? So the nice thing about Kambo, because some people feel very uncomfortable coming out of the body and having, you know, out of body experiences through psychedelics, you know, Kambo offers more of a physical experience, and some people may not be interested in having such a physical experience, you know. They like to have the other kind of experience that's outside of the body. But what's really beautiful about the Kambo and working within the physical body is that it's really grounding, you know. It's really grounding in understanding the capacity and the intelligence of your body. You know, I think Kambo offers a lot of wisdom in understanding your own intelligence, your own body's intelligence to heal itself. And so
it's
again,
almost like you have all that that knowledge and that information within you, inside of you. It was really interesting. Last time I was in Peru, I was traveling actually with Vito, and like it was really interesting to be talking to some of the people in Cusco that they were explaining about Tuli, that is like the if I'm correct, is like the god of medicine. And in Quechua, the word medicine means the power that everybody has inside of ourselves to create our own reality. And like by creating our own realities, like by healing our own bodies, right? And again, our own minds, it's like that information and that power is inside of you. And I guess like this plant medicine, or like this ritual, this ceremony, in a way, what they do, from what I understand, is like make you become more aware of yourself, make you remember about your essence. That's sort of what like happened to me. It's almost like you have all these experiences in life that make you really like forget, or just not be completely aware of
well,
the
I think
full potential of your
what philosopher,
essence.
there's a philosopher that says, you know, we're born with amnesia. We forgot everything as soon as we're incarnated into this body. And
Graham Hancock says that.
yeah, but I think
Graham Hancock.
Plato maybe, but anyway, so like
we're species with amnesia.
And so you know what a blessing it is to have these things that help us remember so much, you know, not just the intelligence of our body, but the time traveling of our spirit, you know, where, you know, all these things. I think what's important is they help us remember what we are really truly capable of consciously, like evolving wise. Like it's huge, you know. I think there's so much there. It's so
powerful.
Yeah.
Like Nat, you told me about that. I mean, I know you're incredibly intuitive, and a lot of things have come to you in downloads, dreams, all this type of stuff, and like that's how you started your journey. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I think I always have this kind of childlike spirit that if I'm curious, like I'll dive into the rabbit hole, you know. If it comes in my path, it's I know that it's meant to be there. It's not a coincidence, so I kind of just grab it right away. I think, you know, as a kid, I was experimenting a lot with things, but even just as a kid, I felt very sensitive to these other things, other energies. And, you know, I was incredibly psychic at times. I would feel things prior to them happening, and was kind of had like spidey senses, no? So I think, you know, it and how I kind of went into like doing plant medicine and things like that, it found me, to be honest. I had a friend who was really interested in doing it. I didn't really know much about it. I told her I'd join her, and next thing you know, we're in a ceremony, and I had and my introduction and my first ceremony was incredible and life-changing, and it reminded me of so much about myself and my journey and my past lives, and who I am and what my purpose is. And so after that, I was like hooked, you know. I was like, yes, I want to know more. I want to explore. I want to invest everything that I have on myself, and just because I know that everything is happening so that I can see myself, you know. So I did all the things that I could to really that were nourishing to my spirit, to remember who I am, like in my, not in this body, in this form, but who I am in spirit, you know, and what my purpose is here, you know. And through time, and then you go through like phases, because it's not like, oh, I'm at a ceremony every weekend. It's not like that for me. I always listen to what's inside, like, why am I there? What's my purpose? What's my intention sitting? Am I praying for this? Am I praying for this elder? Am I praying for myself? Am I seeking a guidance? You know, it's because sometimes when you start to do it, you kind of you could go into like fear of missing out of a ceremony. You're like, oh. But it's very important to listen to your own pace, you know. Of like really understand what your intention is being there, you know, and I think that's always more nutritious in many ways.
I guess we tend, like, especially in our culture, I mean, it's always like about the outside all the time. So we start forgetting, you know, like how is it that like I have a lot of people always ask me, okay, so how did you find like that thing that you love to do so much? And like the reality is like you never really find it. You're always like in this sort of like discovery, and it's just like the drive and the passion to be discovering things that lead you to becoming good at stuff, or just to, and the reality is like that's really all about learning about who you are, like traveling. And it's especially like traveling alone, it's amazing because you learn so much about yourself, like through these outdoor experiences. Someone's shouting. What the hell? Like, what the hell? Like, it's like someone's shouting right now. It's weird. It's
I mean, I feel like we're here to discover like ourselves. Like, how fascinating are we? Like, we could, like, you know what I mean? Like, we could do so many things. Like, our brain could do so many things. Our body could do so many things. Like, how could you not be fascinated with, like, what's going on, you know? Like, I feel like with all the distractions that are going on, not even now, just with, like, everything, TV and phone, and, like, you're not really, like, going in.
Well, and I think there's also two things, like, you know, there are your gifts, right? How you have inclinations to be an artist, be a musician, be this or that other. And these are our gifts, you know, these are the things that we nourish and we're passionate about, right? That's one thing. But then there's this other beautiful road of just, okay, that's your gift, you nourish that. And then there's always like this ability to also invest in something deeper inside of yourself, you know, like that journey within that's beyond things that are material, of the stuff that you put out there, you know, music, this, that, the other. You can go into a space where it's
in that note, I mean, we're going to be sharing some of your recommendations for books, for documentaries, for just like videos that you've shared with me. I mean, some of them are like incredibly fascinating. I think Joey, you recommended me to read The Cosmic Serpent. That was awesome. There's a lot of information out there, and I think we should definitely talk about some. I mean, because we've been talking so much about like plant medicine and like these other kind of more, I guess, it just things that have like, I think we should talk a little bit about like the precautions and what, like set and setting, and like just encourage research and clean body and just be healthy, all this stuff.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say one thing, because I think it's really important to always acknowledge the force that's driving you to do certain things, right? Always acknowledge that force, because that is your soul and your spirit just like pushing you to go and do this thing to discover yourself. So any of these things like resonate with you, like we encourage you to do the research, to really like continue to look and research, you know, through, you know, some of our book recommendations, but also if anything really resonates, you can always reach out to us, and we are really happy to open any doors for your growth and your self-development. No? But that's of course, some of the precautions that we have as just facilitators of these kinds of things is know who you're working with. You know, that's very important. You're opening a space that's very vulnerable, that's very sweet, that's very divine. So really kind of do the research on who you're working with. Like, does that feel right? Feel the intuitive part in your heart that's going to say yes, you know, or that's going to say no. It's very important.
And just want it, like, you kind of have to want to do it, you know? Like, I've
never feel forced or kind of like peer pressure.
All that they want to do it because they heard about it.
Yeah.
You know, been on like or, you know, they just want to do it to like check it off on their list.
Yeah.
And I feel like you have to like really.
I don't think it's for everybody. You know, like I think if you don't feel it, you should not. You should never really do anything that you don't want to do.
Of course.
I mean,
there's also this like beauty about the force of your spirit when you're even in depression or you are in addiction and whatever the story is. I mean, it's incredible with that to recognize how far your spirit will push you to get to the other side.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna push you. It's gonna put these things right in front of your face. Like, and if you're like, oh, I don't know what to do, boom. So they're
just gonna come to you. They're just gonna start appearing in your life.
Just trust it. All there, you know. The only things that we have. Like,
it's so hard. It's so hard to live by intuition. Like, I go through stages. Sometimes I just feel like I'm really trusting myself. I'm just really riding that wave, and like things actually start happening and start growing, and then kind of like sometimes you start doubting yourself, and then start like thinking. I think it's a process. It's that sort of like yin and yang, that sort of like back and forth that obviously like makes you grow and discover. But I mean, it's amazing when you're like really truly embodying intuition and like living through it and just having that as your power that moves you through every day. It's amazing. It's really beautiful.
And you also have to like trust the great mystery, which is really hard for people.
Yeah.
Like, can we trust what is happening right now is
True.
going to be for us? This is the great, this is part
What
of
do you think, just in
we
that
pray,
note, to the
we always pray to the great mystery. Of course, this
Yeah.
is going to be good for us, you know?
Mhm.
And I say for us in the sense for our spirits, like,
Yeah.
not your material things. I lost my job, this, that. We're all living that. We're in that, you know, there's that
Mhm.
reality. But is this going to be good for our spirit? Yes, no doubt about it. No doubt about it, you know?
Mm.
So again, going back to like ceremony and the importance of that, like once we do come out, and I'm sure lots of everybody will want to celebrate, you know,
Totally.
really kind of go make that a ceremony, make that your crowning moment, you know.
Yeah. So
Of,
what I also want to talk about this last thing about just being indigenous to the earth. I mean, obviously we know a lot of these rituals and a lot of these ceremonies, we did not grow with them. The other day, Joey, you said something that it was like, it's definitely super accurate. You were like, it's, I know, like maybe all of these lineages of knowledge, maybe they don't belong to, you know, like the Western world, or like, I mean, I'm from Mexico, Nat, you're from Chile, Joey, you're American, Italian. It's sort of like, but like this knowledge is out there, and it's for humanity's sake. Obviously we need to be responsible, and we can't, I mean, this thing is just not, it's definitely not like for fun. I mean, I guess it's can you tell us a little bit about your take about like these being from different parts of the world, and especially right now people being so like woke, or like it's just like
I think all these things are
what's
here to help.
authentic and what's not, you know?
I think all these things are here to help. So why should it be to a certain like group or tribe, or, you know, I feel like there's a reason why it's spreading. Like, you know what I mean? Because people need it. You know, people need some healing. People need to, you know, better themselves, or just like, yeah, like I was saying, like, you know, if you're not Indian, are you supposed to meditate or do yoga? You know, like, and look, everyone's doing yoga now. It's for everybody. I feel like this earth is for everybody.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, there's, of course, I think we have to respect all of those who came before us that have had the experiences with these medicines, you know, they have practice, you know. But there's also comes a time before that, before, you know, there's a human condition that we like to make things ours.
Yeah.
And I think we're coming into an era where it's really time to share, you know? And within that, we need to trust, and we need to respect, and we need to ask for forgiveness, and we need to, you know, build that trust again. Because we are not taking these things from people or indigenous people. You know, in fact, our relationships with how we have medicine, access to these medicines, are because we have connected our hearts with our maestros, our teachers. You know, even plants, you know, like plants are my teachers. And for me to harvest a plant, I ask for permission, you know. And so it comes to a place of knowing within your heart what feels right, you know, what feels true to your heart, to for you, you know. Because also there are things that you should do because your heart is pushing you, and your soul and that force is going forward with that, you know, that maybe you don't need to ask permission. You know? So there's a lot of finding the truth in your heart of what's right, you know, what feels right.
That's awesome. Guys, thank you so much for this talk today. Is there anything that you want to add that we haven't talked about? I mean, there's so much to talk. I mean, I know, Joey, we're going to be doing interview with you about like more like specifics about Cambo, and Nat. I would love to do one with you we would love for you to tell us about the vision quests and all these like amazing things that you did. Like, thank you so much for inviting me to your last one. I was in Indonesia and you were in Chile, and like you, how did that one go?
Oh, it was incredible, incredible. Very insightful for what we are living right now. You know, I think it definitely gave me the tools to experience this kind of inward journey at home. And so, yeah, the Vision Quest I highly recommend for everyone who is interested in knowing themselves very, very deeply.
Yeah, and if anyone has any like combo science related questions, because there's a ton of that, you know, aside from like other stuff that it does, there's actually like, you know, scientific papers and research about combo. There's over like 70 patents here in the US from pharmaceutical companies that have taken like each of the peptides and have done different things with them, you know. This combo has over like, I don't know, like maybe like hundreds of different peptides inside its secretion. So it's like a chemical cocktail of like all these different things that do all these different things in the body, you know. Whether it's good for like blood circulation, you know, it's good for the pituitary gland and the adrenal cortex. It's good for inflammation, it's good for depression, it produces oxytocin. So it's not just like this like magical, I mean, it is magical, but there's actually like science based on it, you know. And,
That's
so
awesome.
Yeah, you know, if anyone has questions,
we're going to be sharing your guys' links, and I would love to continue just a collaboration. I mean, we're super open with to just like continue like talking about this. There's a lot of information, I guess, that we still need to, well, that I would still love to learn. And I'm sure a lot of people out there might be still very interested. So I guess everybody, thank you so much for tuning in with us today. Nat, Joey, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for doing what you guys do. You do it from the heart, you know, and it's really about just doing it for other people. And when you're doing it for other people, you're doing it for yourselves. Like it's really, I think it's we have a lot to learn, and just please let's keep collaborating. Let's talk more. And we're going to be sharing your interview about Cambo and also about Vision Quests and more.
And one last thing about what's going on right now. Don't feed into the fear. Do your research everything right now. You know what I mean? You have the time to see what's going on. Don't just listen to one narrative. Don't just listen to another. Listen to all of them, everything, and then make a judgment for yourself. Don't feed into
Listen
this,
to your intuition.
Follow your heart.
I love it.
If anybody needs anything, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We are here for you and your journey.
Okay, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Let's talk soon, okay? Ciao.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.